Hi, my name's Mel and I am obsessed with Mudslingers coffee. If you've been on my channel for a little while, then you may have seen me do a going to get Mudslingers at the first of the month, and I am completely obsessed. My local coffee shop is a drive-through coffee shop and does a set of specials every single month that you can only get for that month. They're always new, they're always incredible, and I always like to go and get them. This is technically a chain, but there is only one like this that I know of that does these specials, and I absolutely adore this coffee shop. So one of my patrons at court suggested that I do a Mudslingers Picks My Reads, and I was like, that's an excuse to go to Mudslingers? Yes, please. This month felt absolutely perfect for it. It's spooky season. I'm going to be reading a lot of books, and the specials this month are locked and loaded. They are incredible. So I'm going to put them up here on the screen for you guys, but they usually have 5 different coffees, a chai, and then 4 of their energy drinks. I'm not a big chai fan, so I probably won't be drinking that one, and I'm not a huge fan of their energy drinks, so we'll see if I get to those. So that leaves me 5 other choices that I need to try before the end of the month, because once they're gone, and I can't get them again. So I think what I'm going to do is match my book to the title description of the coffee, and then I'm going to rank that from a 1 to 5 star, the coffee as well as the book, and let's see how well they match up. I think this morning though I'm going to go with the chocolate covered pretzel, which is dark chocolate mocha with salted caramel and brown butter toffee. I'm so excited. I'm literally so excited. In order to match my book with this though, what are the vibes that is giving me? Pretzels give me a little salty, a little sassy, so I'm thinking strong female main character, but also pretzels give me intertwined, and that could be a white shoes love triangle type thing in my opinion. So what I'm thinking, hear me out. Let me grab the book. Hear me out. I'm thinking Zodiac Academy. I'm currently in the middle of this one. I'm about 40% of the way in, and I am having the absolute best time with this book. I think it's going to be my favorite in the series so far. But in my opinion, we have dark chocolate, dark cover, okay? We have pretzel, which I already said was a little bit salty, a little bit spicy. There's a main character in this, Tori, and honestly all of the airs that are very salty. They just kind of give me those vibes. And then we also talked about pretzels being kind of intertwined. There are love triangles in this. It is very convoluted in some of the love triangles. We're starting to clear that up, but it was there, as well as there are a bunch of different flavors. I feel like in this one, it's one of the ones with the most different flavors, and there are a bunch of different shifters and orders in here. We have vampires, we have dragons, we have Pegasus, we have sirens. There's all different kinds of things. They're all fae, but they're all different kinds of things. So I feel like it fits. Is it a little bit of a stretch? Maybe, but it fits in my brain. So this is what we're going to be doing. I have all week to finish this before we will be trying my next flavor. So wish me luck. I think I can get this read. It's chunky, but like I said, I am about here so far and having the best time. I will give you guys an update on what I think about this, but first I really want to go get this drink. I'm going to be using the specials from this month to pick my books and try to match the vibes or the title or whatever we want to match to see, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm also gonna try to match my rating of the book to the rating of the drink, so we're gonna see how close I can get. Probably not very close, there's no science behind that, but whatever. This morning though, I did decide to get the chocolate covered pretzel, I think it's what it's called. I have not tried it yet. I always like to mix in the whipped cream though, so sorry it's not gonna be very pretty anymore. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like dark chocolate. I'm not a huge chocolate coffee person. I've realized I tend to prefer vanilla based coffees, but I don't mind it as much if it's dark chocolate and if it has caramel mixed in with it, which this one does. I think I'm thinking a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. It's a solid 4 star for me. I'm back with updates on Cursed Fates. I'd already read 35-40% of this book before starting this vlog, so I knew I was having a really good time with it, and I was loving the way that this book seems to just take the best of everything I love about Zodiac Academy and has shoved it in there, and I'm literally having the best time. If you don't know what Zodiac Academy is, I feel like you probably already do. So the basic synopsis is we have twins, lived in the human world, and then got taken to the Fae world and learned that they were heirs to a kingdom. But in order to take their birthright, they have to survive the Zodiac Academy first, and there are 5 other heirs that thought that they were going to be getting the throne that are guys that don't want them to succeed. So the first book is definitely more of a bully aspect, and then we kind of move through that as we go along. I was not a huge fan of book 1. I liked book 2, really enjoyed book 3, really enjoyed book 4, and am loving this one. So in my opinion, they've just gotten better as I have gone along. This one picks up right where book 1 left off. I was really nervous about the way that it was going to start because I was just afraid that the stakes weren't going to be there and it was just going to be kind of swept under the rug and not actually dealt with, because this book does like to give you some slice of life moments, to have fun, to poke fun, and I wanted it to take a moment to have a more like serious plot based moment, and it did that. It was still resolved relatively quickly, but I feel like the amount of time that it spent developing that and developing the plot part of that was not swept under the rug. We're definitely focusing more on one of the sisters' romance in this one, and I'm living for it. It's got so much yearning while also still having good banter all at the same time, and I feel like because we've spent so much time with these characters, it's really working for me. It's also kind of sad all at the same time, but there's just something about it that I'm having the best time with. So I am now about 50% of the way through this, still having a great time. My thoughts have not really changed and I cannot wait to continue. It is very chunky. This is like a 700 and some odd page book. So it is taking me a little while. It's 650 pages. It feels thicker than that. But I do want to finish it today so that next week we can go and get our next Mudslingers drink and see what I'm going to be reading next. But like, this feels like a 5-star for me. It's time for my final thoughts on Zodiac Academy. I've taken the bookmark out. I have finished this behemoth of a book and I absolutely loved this. I don't even know where to start, honestly. This one is very like trauma. You want to throw the book at all times. Like, there's not a point really in this where our characters are super happy. There's always an undertone of something is going on, something is keeping them all apart. But at the same time, I felt like we were really getting some good character moments and some good character development that I thoroughly enjoyed. I wanted to take this book and literally like beat Darius, beat Tori, beat Orion. Like, I wanted to beat them all over the head. There was a point where I wanted to like throw the book. I was listening to it on my way home from work and just like yelling at it, and then texted Nikki and was like, how, like, did this even happen? Like, are we even doing what I think we're doing? And she was like, yes. And it was a time. It was a time, but a time that I loved. I have said before that I have a very like precarious past with this series where I didn't really like book 1, but they have gotten better as they go along for me. And so I'm hoping that that path continues. This one has been my favorite so far. Like, it's the only one that I've given a 5-star and really loved. There was a relationship that came into the end of this one that I was not expecting, and still not 100% sure how I feel about it, but also think I kind of needed it all at the same time. I'm not really sure. Stay tuned on that as it starts to develop. But I loved all of the POVs in this. I won't say that I loved where the characters' relationships were going, but also I think we needed something to happen. I think we needed something to move the story forward a little bit and for me to feel like the plot was pushing forward. And I think this book gave me that, and which is part of the reason why I enjoyed it as much as I did. Let me know if you are reading this series and what you think of the rest of the books. Like, am I going to continue to love them even more as they go? Because I've heard that the later books felt like the series dragged on for too long, which makes me sad, but also this was so good. I'm so glad that I read it. It took me way longer than I wanted it to read it, but I had the absolute best time with it, and I'm so glad that I have got it finished and loved it. So now let's go pick up my next Mudslingers drink and see what I'm going to be reading next. So this morning we have the sticky bun, and I forget exactly what this is. I know it has maple and cinnamon in it, and I usually love that in a drink. So let's see what we think. Oh, that's really good. I think I'm gonna give that a 4 out of 5, maybe a 3.5. Like, it's really good, but I don't think it's my absolute favorite. I don't know what book I'm gonna read with this yet though, so I'll let you guys know when I decide and figure out what the vibe is. Okay, so I picked my next book. I picked what I want to go with for the sticky bun, and I'm leaning into the like super sweet vibes of this. It has chocolate, it has cinnamon, it has maple, and that kind of like sticky sweet vibe. That's what we're gonna go with, and it also gives me just very fall vibes. It feels like the most fall and least like Halloween of the drinks. So I ended up going with If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. I've heard so many good things about this book. It is a 1997 Grumpy Sunshine fall rom-com that is supposed to give really big Gilmore Girls vibes. So it really seemed to fit for me, the like sticky bun vibes. I could see one of the shop owners in Gilmore Girls giving out or making sticky buns and like having a competition or something like that. So I definitely think that this one fit the most in my brain for that drink. And this is following Cliff, who is a single dad. He and his ex-wife got married when they accidentally got pregnant at 16, so he has been raising his two daughters since she decided to go live the life in the big city, and he is a baker in this very small town. Then we have Michelle, and she has just lost her mother, and while her sister is in school learning to be an artist, she is responsible for going back and taking care of the inn that her mother and father ran in the small town that Cliff lives in. So we have Michelle, who's very analytical, and she's super like by the book, by the numbers. She's not really a people person, and she's just recently gotten divorced. And then we have Cliff, who is very sunshine. He loves the town. He loves talking to people. He's a baker. He's got kids, and she is going to ask for his help in order to make her a people person. I will admit, when I first started this, I was not sure because this book has incredible ratings. I was scrolling through Goodreads and did not see very many reviews under 4 stars at all. It is so beloved and so hyped. So I was a little bit nervous going into it because I wanted to love it and feel the hype too. I like a Grumpy Sunshine. It is reversed, which I appreciate. Single dad sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, but I did want some banter in their relationship, and I was afraid because he was so sunshine that we weren't going to get that. And in the beginning, I was still very concerned about that. Up until probably the 80-page mark, I was like, how am I going to feel about this? I feel like we're kind of dragging a little. I feel like Michelle's very in her head, and we're having the same like insecurities and conversations happening over and over again, and I wanted things to move forward a little bit, get a little bit more of the atmosphere there. And I would say around the 100-page mark, because I'm currently 106 pages in, I felt like we started to get that. They started to spend more time together. We got to see more of both of their personalities and their personalities together, and him picking on her, her picking back, the dog, and then the vibes started to come. So I am enjoying it a lot more now that I'm a little bit further into the book, but the setup was a little bit slow for me. I think in the end, this thing is 500 pages. It is going to probably feel a little bit too long, but I'm excited to read the journey along with them, and I think it's just a good like palette reset for the crisp fall vibes that we're finally getting here in Alabama. So this is what my main focus is going to be for the next couple of days. Honestly, I read those 100 pages in like an hour, so I easily think that I can finish this pretty quickly. I do have some plans tonight, so I'm not sure if I will get as much reading done this evening, but hopefully tomorrow I can get a lot read, and then we'll move into our last drink. I think I'm only going to do 3 drinks to decide what my book is next. It is so cold outside today. It finally started to feel like fall probably 2 days ago when the leaves started to fall, and it was just really, really nice. And then overnight, it got to be extremely cold. And now I am enjoying my sweater weather life, although I am very chilled. But that was the perfect time to start reading if it makes you happy. I am about 50% into this, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit of whiplash on the way that I feel about it. And I'll make this update relatively quick because my camera battery is flashing at me. But overall, like, I'm enjoying this, but I feel like it's just gonna kind of be a back and forth with me, where one moment I'm enjoying it, I'm really into it, and the next moment Michelle is kind of driving me crazy, and their back and forth is just, it feels drawn out. And I said that in the beginning, that I felt like this book was going to be a little bit too long, and unfortunately I still feel that way. There are moments where I'm like giddy and laughing and love their relationship together. There are moments where I understand their frustrations and why they are not together. And then there are moments where I want to take my book and beat them both over the head with it, which you might say is a sign of a good book, but also those frustrations get to a point where they become just a little bit too frustrating. And I have hit those moments a couple of times. Thankfully, it does circle back to me enjoying it and being like on board with it again. I think the relationships with his 2 daughters are really like interesting. They have a great presence in the story. They're not too young, but they definitely feel very authentic, and I enjoy seeing everyone's relationships with them. I love the small town vibe, seeing all of the relationships with the different people and the stores that they run and how they help, and Michelle's family. I think all of that is extremely well done, but sometimes I'm just like, why are we still having the same conversation? Why are we still at this exact same point? We need to further things and move on just a little bit. But overall, I am really enjoying this. I see why everyone loves it. It's such an easy atmospheric read, and I am absolutely adoring the vibes. So it's actually been a few days. This video is going to be far, far later than I meant for it to be, but I have just been really struggling to find my motivation to read and film. I don't really know what it is, but recently I've just been kind of blah, and I don't know if it's a reading slump. I guess it definitely could be after vacation and trying to get ahead on content and then falling behind on content and just life and work and all of the things in general, I do think has really like put me in a rut, which is not great because it's the time of year for all of the reading, but I am definitely struggling. Like my hair is on day 6 maybe of not washing it. I really do need to go do that today, but I just haven't. I've been struggling to find the motivation to do much of anything, honestly. And it's almost like Christmas time. I want to be able to decorate and to do things, so I'm hoping this kind of lets up soon. But anyway, I have finished If It Makes You Happy, and I am glad that I read this right now. I think that it was a really good palate cleanser for me. I do want to read more contemporary romance, and I have been trying to use those throughout the year, but I really haven't read. I was looking at my contemporary romance shelf, and I really haven't read as many as I anticipated that I would at the beginning of the year. So I was happy to finally pick this one up. I heard incredible things about it, and I completely understand the hype for this. I think that if you are looking for a non-toxic relationship where the drama and the issues with the couple does not come from external sources, it comes from like their internal issues, this is really going to work for you. Michelle is very in her head. She has I won't say different personality, but she is the grumpy in this Grumpy Sunshine, where she is very focused on her career, and she always felt kind of like the less loved sister because her younger sister was such a bright, shining person, and she loves her sister, but she also knows that she is very like by the book, black and white, and has a harder time making friends. Then you have Cliff, who is just like the sunshine, and he's just trying to make it through because he never really got to be a kid, and his like struggles with who he is, and his ex-wife telling him that she never really liked him, she just kind of put up with him, and his like self-deprecating humor. So if that's something that you enjoy, I would give this a try. I enjoyed this book, but I do feel like I got whiplash from it overall. There would be moments where I was having a great time. I thought the romance was really good. I appreciated those inner struggle conversations, but there also came to be times where it felt like it was dragging on for a little too long, and we got a little bit repetitive in the conversations that we were having. So I think the true crux of the problem with this book is it does not need to be 500 pages long. It could have been cut down by probably 150 pages, and I would have been a lot more invested, because I felt like every time I got invested, we would just kind of circle back to something that had already been resolved, and I got kind of frustrated with it. But I loved like the characters and the vibes, and thought that it was just a really good read too. Like it was well written. I had a good time reading it. So I think in the end, I have really struggled, and that's part of the reason I haven't come to give you guys a rating yet. I think I'm gonna give this a 3.5. I struggle between like a 3 and a 4, and honestly, in the end, the more that I sit on it, the more forgettable I feel like it's going to be, and the more issues I had with the back and forth. And I just, even though the back and forth was not externally to the couple, and they weren't like, there were some miscommunication tropes, don't get me wrong, but that's not the core part of the story. There was just something about it that I had a hard time with in the end, and I feel like that is just not good, because everybody loves this book, and I fully understand why everybody loves this book, but I think the hype got to me. I think I was expecting more, and I don't know in what way. I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot. I will be recommending this, but for me, I think it just needed to be shorter. So we are now going to be moving on to my next drink, which I'm really, really excited about. Honestly, I have been looking forward to getting this drink for a very long time. I was saving it for the end because I knew that it was probably going to be my favorite, and it is the cold brew. I love Mudslingers cold brew. I don't know what it is, but it's not too bitter. It always has the right amount of sweetness to it without being overpowering. It's just so good. So let's go grab that, and then we'll pick our last book. Good morning. I have saved what I think will be my favorite Mudslingers drink for last, and that is the caramel corn cold brew. The cold brew is literally my favorite thing that they do. I don't know what it is, but it's not at all bitter. It is strong, but it's still not like too sweet. I don't know. It's incredible. So this one has like caramel corn, cold foam, and of course caramel in it, and I forget what all else. That caramel's thick. It's hard to get the drink through it, but yes, I was correct. That is a 5-star drink, my friends. So
let's pick a 5-star book.
Okay, I finally picked my next book, and in honor of that drink being a 5-star drink and me absolutely adoring it, I wanted to pick a potential 5-star book, a 5-star prediction, if you will. And so I ended up going with To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. This has been on my radar for a very long time, actually, but it's kind of had some release date pushes and things like that, but I got an arc of it, and it's technically coming out in the month of November, and so I was just excited to finally be able to pick it up, and so far, I am really enjoying it. I'm about 30% of the way in because this book flies. There is not a stoppable moment. There is not a dull moment. Everything is moving at breakneck speed and I'm enjoying every second of it. This is set in a dystopian world where Earth has crumbled. The US is no longer what it used to be. It's now sectioned off into different factions in different cities. And in the one she lives in, if you commit any crime at all, you get sent to this prison. And the prison essentially keeps people there, but also every day people can pay to hunt you for sport, and their goal obviously is to kill you, but if you make it and you survive, then you can kind of rank up and be considered more like sought after and more money essentially. And I just feel like that is wild, and I hope that that's not something that we ever see, but like what is so she's trying to protect her brother because her family was a part of the rebellion and they got caught. So she and her brother were living on their own after their parents were killed. The only way that she can think of to protect him, to put food in his belly, is to become a bounty hunter and put people in this prison. But unfortunately her brother gets arrested at work one day, and so she offers to go and infiltrate the prison in order to help him escape, as well as one of the other rebellion like confidants that is in there. So she gets herself arrested and ends up in this prison. In the process, there is a guy that she met on the streets that she finds out is a guard, and he just so happens to be a guard of the prison. So she's trying to navigate that along with getting her brother out. So far the romance has been generally okay. There's not been a lot of it, but you can definitely see the hints of it. I wish that there was a little bit more tension, a little bit more banter with them, because they just feel like they're kind of existing around one another at the moment. But honestly, I don't feel like that's the like true point of the story right now. We're definitely focused on her and her journey. So it's fine. It's been extremely fast paced. It's been very, very brutal. And I think it gives the dystopian vibes that people could have been missing from like Silver Elite. Those do feel very comparable. Not just because they're both like dystopian romances, but kind of just the general vibes, I guess. We're leaning back into that like 2000s YA dystopian. My biggest complaint right now is that I wish it was a little more adult. It does read very like new adult, but I think that that's lending to the super fast-paced nature. But overall, I'm having a great time with it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm flying through it, and I cannot wait to read more of it. Does it feel like a 5-star prediction right now? Maybe, could be, possibly. It just kind of depends on how the story continues to develop, I think, for me, but overall, having a great time. Okay, so my main goal today is to finish To Cage a Wild Bird. I'm about halfway, a little over halfway through it, and I am still very much so enjoying this. I think that this is for the fast-paced girlies. If you want a book that doesn't stop from start to finish, definitely try this one. If you're a more character-driven reader and you like slower, more character-focused moments, I don't know if this one's gonna work as well for you. And I think that's the part of the book that I am struggling just a little bit with, is I want a few more of those character moments, a little bit more depth to the characters and their relationships. And I will say that our female main character is kind of driving me a little crazy. Raven is definitely a very headstrong character. She has ways that she thinks and ways that she feels about things, and you're not going to change her mind. But the whole point of her going to this prison is to save her brother, and there are conversations that are happening between her and her brother that should kind of change her outlook on things a little bit, and she is refusing to budge, which is relatable. Like when you want to protect your family and you're so focused on your family, you kind of put on blinders a little bit. But at the same time, as a reader, it can be a little bit like, I just want to shake her. But I definitely think that that's where my main struggle is at the moment, is I want it to slow down a little bit. I want to see more develop in those friendships. I want to see more development between her and her brother. I want to see more development in the romance in general. So I think that it could be a 5-star, but I'm gonna need a few more of those throughout the rest of the story, like until we get to the end, for it to fully get there there for me, but I do like the world building. I think that this prison concept is very, very interesting, and some of the conspiracy theories and things that this capital city has done has really like been very heart-wrenching, but also I wouldn't put it past this type of government to do something like that. So it has been very interesting so far to read about. I'm having a very, very good time with this overall. So I think my priority for today is just going to be to get this finished. I have about 2 hours left, so I will check in when I'm done. So I have finished To Cage a Wild Bird finally. It feels like I've been reading this for forever, but also not very long at all. I don't really know how to explain that, but I think I'm gonna give this one a 4-star. There was just a little something missing, I think, from the overall depth of the story for me to give it a 5-star. I was telling you guys about those character moments, and we never really got what I was looking for, never really got the depth that I needed to make this a full 5-star, but I still loved the story. I loved the writing. I liked our characters a lot. I liked our romance. I thought that the twists and turns at the end were really, really good. It wrapped up pretty much how I expected it to, but also left a lot of really good room for future books, so I thoroughly enjoyed this. There was definitely high stakes throughout this story. I definitely felt like some of our side characters, one of them was gonna go, but I also wish that there had felt like a little bit more high stake. I wish that I felt like everyone was in danger because this was a fight to the death, like they were constantly being hunted for sport, and yet still sometimes I felt like I knew exactly what was gonna happen. So 4-star, very solid. I would definitely give this a read if you are looking for more of that like dystopian romance, super fast-paced type of story. I think that this will work really, really well for you because it worked really well for me. I wish that I had my Fairy Loot copy to show you guys. It's supposed to be here Monday or Tuesday of next week, and I'm hoping that it's going to be stunning because I do really like the original cover. This is it here, but it just is a little bit bland for me. The deluxe edition will have sprayed edges and all of that, which is really, really fun, but I think that Fairy Loot is going to do a really good job with it, so I'm hopeful. I have seen sneak peeks of like just the front cover, which I really liked, but I haven't seen like the full artwork or edges or anything like that, so I'm excited to see it when it gets here. Unfortunately, it will not be here before we finish out this vlog, so I don't have it to show you guys today, but maybe in future vlogs. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Despite it being a lot later than I meant for it to be, I did have a lot of fun filming it. Of course, it gave me an excuse to drink Mudslingers, which I also really enjoyed. Leave me a bird or bird cage emoji down in the comments below in honor of To Cage a Wild Bird. If you guys have gotten to the end of this video and you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out. I will also leave a playlist of all of my other reading vlogs on the screen in case you want to check those out. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.